Another defenseless man must be separated from his son.
My client has no criminal record.
Your client is a murderer, counsel.
He doesn't need to have them, counselor. Good. After listening to both parties, this courtroom dictates the preventive detention against the accused, Mr. Rogelio Soto, who must remain in the district jail until a sentence is handed down.
Hey Passionistas, good to have you back here. This is S.A. Demodua. Thank you for logging onto my YouTube channel, Topical TV. So let's do a quick review on the last episode on law or of the heart. Okay, this episode started with Alfredo trying to defend his client, Mr. Rogelio, yes, but we know he may not be able to get out of this because that's a very serious crime. Though in one way or the other it's been said that okay, he was framed up, yes, by a woman or unknown to him or who claimed to be doctor's wife, but that's notwithstanding, that is not substantial evidence enough to get him out of prison or out of jail. As it is now, until the next hearing he would be sentenced, but now so many allegations, that whatever allegations all against him, shooting someone for 5 years, the prosecutor had enough reasons to make him remain in prison. Definitely he would pay for the crime. Yes, that's what you get for stepping into a situation which doesn't even really affect you, primarily affect you. You just want to be the hero or the heroine of the situation. Anyway, he's going to pay for it unless there are other evidences eventually that will work for him. So after that, we saw Nick and Sylvia having a conversation. Sylvia is also one of the counsel also who was their friends anyway. They just had a conversation, a random conversation, a hearing of Maria de Parla, that she has clients who were there in the office to just have hearings on each other about a case of physical assault, and for the reason the man needs a divorce from his wife. He claims that in the past few years he's been molesting her physically, and the last which broke the camel's neck, and the reason why he wants a divorce eventually is that she burnt him with some cigarettes, so, and he showed it to her in the last episode, and Maria Maria concluded that he was going to help her file for divorce. So then the hearings, why the woman tried to defend or claim that they are all accusations levied against her, that her husband is being unfaithful and goes around with women and all of that. So Maria will be handling that. She's worried that the case may eventually not end well because there are no concrete evidences. There are no concrete evidences to ascertain that she's been really molesting him. At times when he had to get to the clinic, do some other things, but he tried as much as possible to let it be on the very low. He did not want that situation to be up at there, but now he's really tired, but she doesn't want to divorce her husband. So then the next thing was Nicholas being in the court here to see Judge Aurora and get her opinion or her advice on how he should go about Alejandra, what he should do to him. So of course everybody had been advising him or had advised him to drop, but he's not ready to drop the case. First thing Aurora told him was to drop the case, but he's not ready for that. So he wants her advice as a judge, as a lawyer, and also as a friend. Eventually he gave her some piece of advice that may definitely help him in ensuring he gets Alejandra back to court, because he felt okay, he was used. Alejandra used him because initially they thought it was an accidental homicide, but now they know that it was intentional. He intentionally killed Santiago for reasons which included the fact that okay, because of the business, and number two, because he knew the wife was cheating on him. So but using him as a cover-up is what pisses him off the most, and he had to make Alejandra pay for that. So that by the side. And the next one is Nick and Alfredo. They are back to the office, and Maria is ready to spill some gossips to Nick. Like, okay, yes, there's a gist, of course the office is like a place where they talk, they're so really open, they talk about everything, anything they want to talk, they harass each other. I really like the sense of humor in that office environment. I like the sense of humor, although there are some black sheeps, yes, there. So, but let's get back to that. Nick reminded her that, okay, first and foremost, Alfredo Carter is running around. Alfredo in the office, everybody knows that. Julian and Pablo, it seems there is a team working out for them. Rosa and Ivy, they are lovers. Then what about them? Anyway, he proposed to her eventually that he was going to surprise her. He proposed a date to her, which is not yet ready for, and that he was going to surprise her. Like, babe is not even ready. Like, she said, okay, she's not ready. The reason why is that she doesn't like any of them in the office. But let's see how that go, if that is certainly true, or she's just trying to push Nikki away. But I would like maybe in the long run that they eventually get to be more closer than they are at this very moment. So the next thing is Nick and Pablo. Nick went to Pablo's office. Like, Nick is never afraid. Nick went to Pablo's office and tell him that Camilo will be out of the jail very soon. You know what that means, what that would do to Pablo. But well, he doesn't care. He has to let him know that the findings, the information findings, the gatherings and everything had shown that to a very large extent that there's some other routes to the hotel, and this could aid the vindication of Camilo and eventually let him out of the prison. Of course, you know what this means for Pablo. He's in a very thought and thinking mood. He calls it's a very thinking mood, but it is what it is. So the next thing is where we see Julia and Rosa in Julia's office. She's asked Rosa to help her with some clients. Of course, Rosa accepts to do that for her, but inside of her, she's not so happy. She's not happy with the situation. She's a bit angered or furious, and on the way out, she finds Ivan, her bestie, in the office, and they're having a conversation. They're talking about she spills her bitterness to him, like, okay, she'd like to resign, that she's not deserving, like she's not getting what she wants, you know, those normal talk. And meanwhile, while she was in Julia's office, Pablo called Julia for them to have lunch. So they're about going for lunch, and so she spills everything to Ivan, let him know that there may be really no possibility of her getting a good chance at the law firm. So of course, Ivan is not happy with the situation. It's told her to calm down, to chill a bit, that he will find a solution for her. So let's see the solution he will find for her in the long run. So Pablo and client. Pablo has a client with him again. They're talking about Cedra, that he was the wife levied accusation. Like, I would say this episode majorly were on cases like how people fall in love, out of love, different cases, issues, like what just make people to dislike each other, and the next thing they want a divorce for one reason or the other. So it's kind of interesting, and also it's kind of very weird that some things really make people just dislike each other and they want to go separate ways. So the next one is Ivan and Nick. Nick gets to meet Ivan and also ask him for advice on how to go about about Alejandra, and his opinion. Again, Ivan advises him on what he thinks should be done, and also gets to tell him about their situation, about Rosa's situation. And at least in this, to some extent, he was a bit relieved when Nick told him that Camilo would be out of the prison very soon, and so that may leave. So I don't know how they feel, okay, leaving the prison, getting back with Pablo, Camilo, what will definitely happen to them and all of that. But at least he sees that as an opportunity, and he gets to also tell Rosa that she shouldn't bother so much. Opportunity may definitely come up for her. So Rosa has a client. I'm sure the first time, please, did I miss anyone? I'm sure this is about the first time, second, or important that Rosa is having a client. I'm happy for her. At least we've seen that she's handling or managing cases. We know she's an assistant, but that does not stop her from managing case or otherwise. So she has a client who wants to divorce her husband for the mere fact that he defaults in financial obligations of the home, but like to live a very luxury life outside. So they're having that conversation, and she's ready to aid the hearing for her. So the next one is Elias and Rosa on date, Julia and Pablo on the lunch date, and this is where Pablo eventually had to tell Julia that Camilo will be out of the prison very soon. I don't even understand the kind of feelings at the very moment, but of course it's also fantastic for Pablo, and Julia also liking Pablo is not so fantastic, but like she had already said, she really has a lot to think of. And Pablo also reassured her that he knew she was very straight with her from the very beginning, and he knew everything that has happened with her in the short term, like they've been together as friends, and whatever decision she makes, he's okay with it. But he then chipped in that, well, if it's in her favor, that would be nice. Who doesn't want that kind of favor? Even Maria and Nick, they feel, oh, it would be good if they are together. So and Nick, they're analyzing the situation, how they got all the evidences and all the information gathering they has done in ensuring that Camilo will be out of prison. So of course lawyers gist, men talk and everything, all of that. So also Roberto thinks that it may not be easy for Camilo to move on just with his life afterwards, but let's see what happens when he eventually get back. Pablo and Julia, they are back to the office, and also Kata is in her corner. She's thinking about Gabriel hasn't called her since they parted in the morning, and she's worried. Like, okay, Kame gets into the office, and she had a conversation with Kame. Her godmama in the office. She had a conversation. Eventually, Kame asked her to give him a call or send him a text message, not so that she wouldn't just leave the space in between there. So, Louis, Obeto's son, Louis is one of the old men. He's a client to Pablo. So they lost the case, but now Pablo actually invited him to the office to have a conversation with him out of law that this is personal, that he shouldn't they shouldn't send the father out of the house. But they said no, that they have to send her because he married a woman younger than him with 30 years, and they feel she's a gold digger. Ogbeni, don't mind me, that's a Yoruba slang in Lagos State, Nigeria. They feel, okay, she's a gold digger, and where Pablo tries as much as possible to let him, only one of them actually came to let him know that she's not a gold digger, and they should consider their father. They should not just throw him in the air. Like, yes, I actually thought of this the last time. They feel, oh, their mother has suffered or is suffering the separation, so why would their father benefit that? I don't understand though. Like, morally, judgmentally, because he's married, so you have to throw him out of the but not the least is the case of Mr. and Mrs. Rose, the lady with so much aesthetics and cosmetic surgery on her face that the husband wants to divorce her. Of course, Mrs. Amma is not ready to leave the marriage, but the husband Fabio insists that he wants a divorce for so many reasons. Like, he's no longer attracted to her because of her artificial looks, and she's not ready to stop it. So if she's even ready to stop it, he would consider her. But Mrs. Amma feels like this is what she wants to do with her life, and she has the right to do anything she wants to with her life. So many. Elias is the one handling the case for Mr. Fabio. So eventually the judge has concluded or decided that Mrs. Amma would go for tests, psychological mental tests, yes, so to be sure that the number of surgery, I think she's done 14 to 16 surgeries she's done, to be very sure that none of the surgeries has affected her mental state, like as advised by Elias. Well, we hope to see more of that in the next episode on Law of the Heart. We hope to see how they will definitely settle that case in the next episode on Law of the Heart. I would say this is where we draw the curtain on this episode. So guys, Did you check out this? Let me know in the comment section if I'm missing anything or your highlights or high points in that episode. So guys, this is Esedemute, and please, if you've not subscribed to my YouTube channel, kindly do so for me. And until I come your way again, I'm your one and only topical Naija girl, Esedemute. Bye.